Have you ever shot handheld, got home and been very disappointed in your shots because there's always a tiny bit of blur, and then has that made you resort to a tripod every single time? Well, in this video, and it's aimed particularly at people of a certain age, I'm going to help you get those really sharp shots handheld. I'm going to take a slightly different approach, as you would expect from that old photo guy. Now, I appreciate I'm probably talking to people who are very experienced photographers and know all this stuff. But just in case you don't, or you can pick up one or two tips along the way, keep watching. So sharp handheld shots are all about getting an appropriate stance, as well, of course, your shutter speed. But getting a good stance, a good solid stance, holding your camera is absolutely key. And of course, the standard one is feet shoulder width apart, one foot in front of the other, usually your left foot, and then hold your camera up to your eye. Tuck this elbow, your left elbow, into your chest and click the shutter. 9 times out of 10, you'll get a fantastically sharp shot. Another little technique you can use alongside that, and many of the other stances that you can end up taking, is breathing out at an appropriate time, particularly if you're using those lower shutter speeds. It gives you the best chance. So there we are, holding our camera in an appropriate stance. You breathe in, slowly breathe out, and just as you've finished exhaling, you click that shutter. In, out, click. Very often I cannot use a tripod anyway because I'm in those little nooks and crannies trying to position my camera so I can get the composition that I want. And very often that means adopting some really weird positions. Not always easy. As we get older, we're a little less flexible in our movements. Happens to the best of us, doesn't it, really? Anyway, here are a couple of other stances you can use when you find yourself in those little awkward situations. Oh, I've just spotted a little composition here which is going to mean I'm going to have to get low. And the easiest and most stable stance I can take is to get down on one knee. So let me demonstrate that. I've got this little composition, bits of seaweed hanging off a rock. It's in a bit of shade, but there's some nice contrast there which I might be able to play with. So basically the stance is very simple. Keep in mind stability. So down on one knee, you might hear the odd crack, of course, and then my left elbow goes on my left knee and then holds the lens of my camera, and I've got a pretty stable situation here to complete the composition. I'm actually using 1/350th f9.5 ISO 320. I think that'll be okay. Of course, there's a variation on the theme with this. And what if I want to get even lower with the camera? So I can just sink down onto my right heel, drop the camera down as low as I want to go, and you push my left elbow against my left knee. That sort of locks it in position. And take the shot. So that's a standing stance, kneeling stance. I don't know what you would call the third one. sitting back on your heel stance. It's making sure, of course, that you're absolutely locked. So there's no point in trying to do this. You're going to get a blurry shot. But just sort of pushing elbows against knees, sitting down on your haunches, whatever it takes, you can get a shot. And of course, the added advantage with this particular stance is that you can get as low as you like. So we can go right down to ground level, which very often you cannot do with a tripod. Of course, I appreciate that once you're down there, getting back up again is another story. It's not been unknown for me to use a trekking pole to help get back up again, which sort of, in a way, defeats the object, I suppose, but it does help. And taking your time standing up, very useful. And here's a tip that I often use. I use the natural environment around me sometimes. So carry a shutter release. This one's a wireless one. Position your camera, framing your composition. Job done. I know it's not easy shooting handheld. For us older folk, it can be quite a challenge. Not only holding that camera steady, but also getting into positions so you can capture a composition that is maybe slightly different from the norm. Tripods have their place. I rarely use them myself because I'm a beach photographer and I'm into the nooks and crannies, those small little compositions, absolutely love them, as well as amazing vistas like the beach we have here today. Anyway, hope it's given you food for thought. Love to hear your thoughts about shooting handheld. And maybe there's a technique that you use when you're shooting handheld that I haven't mentioned in this video. Love to hear about it because I want to give that one a try. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.